honored and excited to have a few minutes and spend a few minutes with this woman. This is a legendary pioneer in broadcasting, journalist, reporter, anchor. It is such an honor to have Lesley Visser joining us here. And I mean, I could go on a half hour describing your career and give you the accolades, but it's tough to not see you in person and get that hug. We've known each other for a few years because of your brother and the Wounded Warriors. But Lesley, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Dave, we're like old buddies, and I always cherish the time with you and the cause you've been associated with, the Wounded Warriors. And, it's great. We get to talk ball and we get to talk about people who, protect all of us. So I love seeing you.
Well, your career, like I said, you're a pioneer. You've been in the locker room first. You've been on TV first. I mean, all these firsts. Is there one iconic moment or two that stick out in your mind of a barrier you crossed or a thing where you taught people that you could be a journalist?
Oh, thanks for asking. Well, at the start of my career, the Boston Globe made me the first woman to cover the NFL as a beat. Back in the mid-'70s, when the credentials actually said no women or children in the press box because I was the only woman and they hadn't adjusted. But a lot of my favorite memories are Super Bowls. I'd say particularly the February of 2002, after the 2001 season, of course, after 9/11 in New Orleans. And it was Kurt Warner coming off an MVP, and the Patriots, Tom Brady was not quite yet Tom Brady. And everyone said, oh, of course, the Rams are going to crush the Patriots. And then we saw Adam Vinatieri's kick go through the uprights. And I remember Bob Kraft said, today we are all Patriots.
Yeah. And the things that you've done, I mean, I look back to the times because I know when I first started out, like 1983 in Minnesota, and I would see the locker rooms and I would see guys, and I'll throw their names out, Ted Herbeck or those guys that would really try to shock a female reporter by dropping a towel or doing something. I mean, what were those locker rooms in those times where those guys didn't want you in there, but you had a job to do?
Yeah, it's very gratifying to me that the NFL locker rooms have been open for so long. The first 7 years I covered the NFL, I had to be out in the parking lots doing the interviews because there were no provisions for equality. But ironically, one of my greatest professional moments was in Minnesota. I am still the only woman to have ever handled the post-game trophy celebration, and that was when the Redskins beat Buffalo. And it was interesting because the owner of the then Redskins, Jack Kent Cooke, was a very talkative, and he'd had a wild life. He owned the Forum in Los Angeles with the Lakers. He owned the Chrysler Building in New York. So I'm going through the presentation of the Lombardi Trophy, and he took the microphone from me, and he kind of wouldn't stop talking. He sold encyclopedias in Canada. And now, the Super Bowl goes to 150 countries around the world. And all you heard was our producer, the great Bob Stenner, screaming, get the mic out of Jack Kent Cooke's hands. I was like, this boy. But yeah, I'm glad that women can do anything now. It's really gratifying.
Well, it's opened up doors for people like Laura Okim and all these others that you laid the groundwork for. But I'm wondering, you've written books, and we talked last time when your book came out. It's still out there. You can still get that book on Amazon if you'd like to give a quick plug for it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
My mom told me when I was 10 years old, she asked me what I wanted to be, and I said I wanted to be a sports writer. And she didn't say, oh, girls don't do that, you can't do that. She said, that's great. Sometimes you have to cross when it says don't walk. So thank you. That's the title of the book.
Awesome. And yeah, I kind of wondered, though, is there another book down the road that, given to the sensitivity of the times, I mean, have you told everything that you could tell, or if you told these things, it would change a lot of people's perspective about how you were treated in the ways and certain things, just like things I don't talk about with being handicapped in this business. I can't get to certain stadiums or access or whatever, but for you, that struggle was a lot different. So I know in your book, you've talked about some of those, but I'm wondering, are there things that really would blow our minds if you ever came out with those?
Well, I don't know that, but I do have scar tissue. I mean, I was, not like your scar tissue, but definitely, I was always the only woman, and there was a lot of navigation to go through, and So yeah, so when I wrote the book, I wanted people to know what it was like to ride the bus with John Madden over 5 years. I went to all the games, and he's so interesting, so iconic. He was kind of a modern Mark Twain. And like we would on the bus would stop if there was a girls' softball game. John just loved America, and I really got to see it with him. So I wanted to share that with people. And college basketball coaches are so interesting. So I profiled a lot of them in there, and people that I really learned from. Billie Jean King taught me the greatest thing. I asked her, what was it like to be in 20 Wimbledon finals? She won 20 titles, singles, doubles, mixed doubles. And I said, what was the pressure of always being in the Wimbledon final? And she said to me, like she didn't understand the question, she said, pressure is a privilege.
Wow.
Isn't that strong? So that, it kind of changed the chemistry of my brain. I thought, yeah, that's how you have to look at things. It's a privilege.
I mean, do you feel like an icon or a pioneer? I know you're just you and you're very humble and you give so much, but we put you on this pedestal of where you came from and the things you've done. And I'm just wondering, does it ever sink in what you've done and especially being in the Hall of Fame, being honored, all these kind of things? Or are you just Lesley Visser still?
Oh, no, I'm still a complete nitwit. But I'm gratified. I think your legacy is something for other people to say about you. But no, I'm really gratified. I still hear from many younger women in the business who maybe I was the first woman they saw. And I really regard them as friends. And I will say one thing to your audience. If you think a woman on TV and sports is good, she is. Michelle Tafoya is great. Tracy Wolfson's great. Erin Andrews is great. Pam Oliver, Lisa Salters. These people really know what they're doing, so you can trust it. So I think by now, women really have arrived and they can aspire. We have an official in the Super Bowl, a woman. Bruce Arians has assistants who are female. So I think it's great that a woman growing up now can say, I can do just about anything.
I want to know what's it going to take to, and we've had occasionally, but we don't get a female in the broadcast booth and either color or play-by-play. We're getting it in baseball a little bit, and we've opened up our minds in basketball and other sports. But what's it going to take to get that person, that one, that pioneer that would be that Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football? Like, it has been a very male-driven title, and I think it's how do we fix that?
Well, I'm always trying to push, the evolution, but I was the first female analyst in an NFL booth. I did all the preseason games for the Dolphins and with Bob Greasy, and it was really, it was terrific. It said to me, I would much rather be near the field. I loved, people used to say to me, Lesley, what's your favorite place in America? And I'd say Lambeau in January. You and I have been there together.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But I think if a woman aspired, to work her way toward Sunday Night Football, which of course is the number one with, or with us, maybe Tracy Wolfson would want to sometime join Tony and Jim in the booth. I know they could do it. Of course, we have Susan Waldman, who's done the Yankees for 20 years now. So, yeah, I think it's just, a woman would have to start right from the beginning and say, this is what I want.
Well, hopefully, because, again, we look back even 20 years and the progress that has been, and also the acceptance, the respect, and the courtesy that, you are all equal. We're just, you're such a great storyteller. That was one of the things that I miss seeing consistently is you getting with somebody and telling that story and bringing out those things. Who are some of the most memorable interviews that shocked you when that finished product was done?
Oh my gosh, you didn't even know that you were asking me such a great question, because I did 3 features. It's our Super Bowl, CBS, although most of the talent didn't travel. Well, no, the Tony, Tracy, Jim, the NFL Today guys, but normally we'd have quite a few people on in the city for the Super Bowl. But I did 3 features, and each of them was so meaningful to me. I did one with Marcus Allen. Of course, his iconic run was 17 Bob Trejo right there in Tampa Stadium. And it was really wonderful. I've known him quite a long time. And to talk about not just that run, but, here he was, he grew up in LA, went to SC. He played the glamour position at the glamour school, tailback, and then he had such an iconic NFL career, and just kind of what all those years have been like and the impressions that were made on him. So that was great. And then I did another one with Doug Williams, who started his career in Tampa, didn't get along with Hugh Culverhouse, who, get this, Dave, here he was. He was the first black quarterback, of course, to win the Super Bowl with Washington. But when he got drafted by Tampa, he was the first black to be drafted in the first round. He went to Tampa. He took them to the playoffs, including the 79 title game. And Hugh Culverhouse was paying him, lowest paid quarterback in the league, $120,000 a year. He was actually paid less than 12 backup quarterbacks. So he left, sort of hung around the USFL for a couple of years. Then Joe Gibbs brought him to Washington. And, it was really wonderful. I covered that Super Bowl in San Diego where they beat the Broncos, the young John Elway. And he was telling how he had root canal the day before the Super Bowl for 4 hours. And his head's throbbing, his mouth's throbbing. And they were in how the team always goes to the secret hotel the night before. And he said it was a Lawrence Welk owned hotel. And they played all that music. And he said, my head's killing me, my mouth's killing me. I can't sleep because the Lawrence Welk music.
Wow, some great memories. You've been around politicians, celebrities, queens, everything. I mean, is there some of those moments that stick out in your mind that you pinch yourself as that, like, you just immediately go to, like, wow, that's when I really, really made it as a journalist?
Yeah, there were a few of those. Some athletes have an aura about them that you really feel. Like Muhammad Ali, you knew he was in the room before you saw him. And I remember I met Nelson Mandela once. And Mandela, for those who didn't follow it closely, he was released from prison in South Africa after 27 years in a cell where he could put his arms out and touch both sides. But he didn't come out bitter. And when he came out, he embraced the all-white Springbok South African rugby team, which, was the farthest thing from the Black community. And when he was asked, why did you do it? He said, because sport has the power to change the world.
Amen. Wow.
Yeah, which it does.
I don't even know how we put your career in perspective. I'm just glad you're still doing what you do. Just an amazing career. And again, the accolades, should have been done years ago, but at least you're alive while you get to have the honors, which is better than a posthumous thing. But what's the future for Lesley Visser? I know you're trying to help women and the empowerment and give them these opportunities. So what do you got going down that is going to continue to change the world?
I've only been witness to it, but you mentioned Laura Oakman. I really feel we have a family of women now that are so supportive, and we really do all stay in touch with each other, and we root for each other, which was certainly not the case. I mean, when I started, the wives hated me, what is she doing wanting to interview my husband? And now there are so many strong women that they are spreading their tentacles also, so that we have women. I work on a show. It's the only all women's network show called We Need to Talk, which is fantastic. And it's produced by women. We have Emily Deutsch as our executive producer, along with Suzanne Smith, who's also the director. And we have 2 women producers, Julie Carrick and Amy Samuelson. And it is so fantastic. I mean, we have Swin Cash and Lisa Leslie and Dana Jacobson and Andrea Kramer and Tracy Wolfson. And we talk ball. Like we talk, really is, do you think the Bucs defensive line can put pressure on Kansas City's offensive line because, they're missing 2 offensive linemen? I mean, these are the kind of conversations we have. So I'm very, very proud of that show.
And I'm so lucky to have worked with Dana Jacobson and Andrea Kramer and be around you. Like, it's helped my career. And I look back to the days of when it was almost early. It was like, well, let's make this a beauty contest. No slam against her, but let's put Jane Kennedy in a position where, and so I'm so glad that you have really been this journalist with that staying power that has been able to, compete in such a tough early period where now you are an icon. You are somebody that we all look up to and cherish, and I cherish, our friendship and everything. So I wish we could have been in together, but hopefully in LA next year we can reconnect. And and so where are you going to watch Sunday?
I'm just going to be at home, and I don't want to go to any parties because having covered 35 Super Bowls, I want to see the game. And my husband was a captain of Harvard basketball, so he's a real sports guy too. So we don't want to go to a party. We just want to be right there and watch it, which it'll be interesting for me, to watch it from home. But the broadcast is in good hands. As you know, Dave, the Super Bowl is a three-legged stool. It's the two teams plus the broadcast team. So CBS, we have a huge, you've probably seen it, compound, even though a lot of people aren't there. And Iron Eagle is standing by should something, which pray not, happens to Jim Nance. So CBS, the broadcast is in good hands.
Great. Well, Lesley, thank you so much for your time today. And again, people can buy that book. You can find it on Amazon.com. It's still there. It's still a great read. None of the history is going to change. And like I said, maybe there's another book in your future down the road, teaching and all these kind of things. So, Lesley, thank you so much. And we'll look forward to your stories on the pregame show on Sunday.
It's we need to talk. We'll run Saturday night, but thank you. Yes, again on Sunday. So we get all these platforms. Everything re-airs a million times.
That's what I thought. They got 8 hours to fill a pregame. Right? They're going to show up.
We do. But it's been a pleasure, Dave. And next year, save me a dance in LA.
All right, a dance. All right, we'll get
a dance. Let me see. I've seen. Woo! I know. I've seen that. I love that.
We'll get you on TikTok and all that good stuff.
Sure.
Right?
Bye, Dave. Thank you.
Lesley, thank you. Lesley Visser joining us here on Radio Row. We just continue to get these great stories. So thank you, everybody, for your support. Thank you to the Disability Channel. Of course, the jobs that we have with Anna Marie Bliven. Go visit the Disability Channel.ca. Follow us on the Disability Channel. And again, doing great things here at Radio Row. As empty as it is, we continue to get the stars. And Ability Media from Quinnipiac University, what I'm a part of. We had Alina on earlier, and we're going to continue to try to change the world. And for us old folks and all the ESPNers, Ali Plus TV for people over 55, programming, education, informative news. I'm going to be hosting a couple of new shows called The Boomer Connection and Rock Bottom and Back, so you'll see this ugly old face more and more on TV. So I'm Dave Stevens. I'm going to continue. We got Nate Boyer coming up in a little bit, so continue to follow us from Super Bowl 55. We'll see you soon.